What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be giving you guys the results of the 2021 draft and my thoughts on it. And by that I mean I'm actually going to give an honest opinion on this, which, if I'm going to be honest right now, I think this draft was bullshit. Was just utter bullshit in my mind, because there are a lot of things that have went totally wrong with this draft. But I will be starting with what will be the new roster for SmackDown, going in order that they were drafted in. So obviously the number one overall draft pick, you guessed it, it was Roman Reigns. I can't say that I'm surprised, because with him being this dominant as Universal Champion, even though he got lucky at Extreme Rules, you can't deny it. Next up, we have the Raw Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. This was kind of an odd one, honestly. But Charlotte Flair SmackDown, it is what it is. Drew McIntyre. This was one that I knew was going to happen. Given the fact that McIntyre had been on Raw for so long, since he got called back up to the main roster, Drew admitted that being on SmackDown, he finally can finish what he started all those years ago when he was first in WWE in 2009, and... Sorry guys, oh, never mind. And you guys know when he first joined WWE in 2009, he was a bit of an asshole. Literally, immature, didn't know what the hell he was doing. Now he knows. Next up, we have Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods of the New Day. This is where I said it was bullshit, because Big E became the number one overall draft pick for Monday Night Raw, which again is bullshit. Again, Big E cashing in, Money in the Bank. It was incredible, but for the New Day to be split once again after only being back for what, a few weeks? Come on, really? Next up, we have Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. I'm not gonna call them that. I'm calling them Baron Corbin and Riddick Moss. There, I said it. Next up, we have Hit Row from NXT, which that was an interesting pick, because we know that NXT has been wanting to get superstars called up to the main roster, so they can make way for the newer talent that's coming in. Like just last night on NXT, we saw the debut of, what was the guy's name again? Something Bordeaux. I'll have to look up his name. Hang on. I think Parker Bordeaux was the guy's name, and honestly, I can't wait to see what Parker Bordeaux can do in NXT. But I think this was the right call. But at the same time, now we have to deal with the fact that if Isaiah Scott retains his Universal title, I think was it next week on NXT, if I remember right, that means the only way that Santos will ever get another shot at the title is if he goes to SmackDown. That's it. Next up, we have Naomi, which Sonya Deville was not happy. I'm just going to keep it real. She was not happy to see Naomi's name on that card for SmackDown. Next up, we have Jeff Hardy. You guys remember last year he was a part... Excuse me. He was a part of SmackDown. He ended up getting drafted to Raw. Now he's back on SmackDown, and he could go after the Intercontinental title, which is held by King Nakamura, which is possible. Speaking of NXT callers, we have Aaliyah. This was one that I am actually very curious about because she was once a part of the Robert Stone brand. She left the Robert Stone brand, made some, and apparently from what I heard, of course, she made some deals and decided to go to SmackDown. Working the dark matches, as the matches where Raw and SmackDown go off the air. You guys know, yeah. Anyway, I'm curious as to how good she's gonna be competing in front of tens of thousands of people instead of only a few hundred people in NXT, which to her is an amazing upgrade because obviously she wants to hog the spotlight. You guys know how she was back in NXT. You guys know. Next up, we have Drew Gulak. I'm curious. With Gulak on SmackDown, is he going to chase after the 24/7 title again? The answer is yes, because the 24/7 title can go to Raw, SmackDown, NXT, UK, any brand that he desires. And we'll see. We shall see. Next up, we have Mace, or I guess now, I guess with the fact that Mace and T-Bar have split, we could see Dio Madden and Dominic Dijakovic back. We could. Next up we have Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. I'm actually excited for Mansoor to be on SmackDown. I'm actually excited for Mustafa Ali to be back on SmackDown as well, because if you guys remember, during the pandemic he was out with an injury, and he was the quote unquote hacker that revealed the elaborate plans of Sonya Deville, with the fact that Mandy Rose had fallen for Otis. If you guys remember, you know. So that's gonna be a hell of a challenge. So for those two to be on SmackDown is gonna be a hell of a challenge. Next up we have Toni Storm. I'm glad that SmackDown kept Toni Storm, because she's only been on the main roster for only a few weeks. Has only had a few matches, which honestly is just not right. I feel like as if excuse me. I feel like as if with Storm on Raw, all it's gonna do is she's gonna get lost in the shuffle. So for her to be on SmackDown, she won't be lost in the shuffle as easy as people think. Plus, I mean, there's a good list of talent that she can go up against. Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Aaliyah. Even also several others who I'm gonna bring up here in just a second. But we also have the Usos. This is one that I feel like was bullshit, because as I said before, if you guys have been following me on Twitter, which you guys can follow me, links are down in the description. I talked about how Roman Reigns got lucky at Extreme Rules. I said that hang on. I said on Twitter, had the Usos not have gotten involved, had what happened to Finn Balor not happened, Roman Reigns would have lost the title. He would have lost the title easily. And honestly, it's a fact. Roman Reigns got lucky. And the way that match ended was just utter bullshit. Let's just be real. It was just utter bullshit. But it is what it is. Now, of course, the Bloodline is still together on SmackDown. But it begs the question: where does Paul Heyman lie? With Crown Jewel coming up, he has to decide whether he wants to stay within the Bloodline or go back to Brock Lesnar. That's the big question. That is the big question. But next up, we have Sasha Banks on SmackDown. This is another superstar that could be a big challenge for someone like Aaliyah, for someone like Toni Storm. New talent, new opponents. Sasha Banks could be a really big challenge for Toni Storm. But next up, we have King Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Awesome. Having them remain on SmackDown, absolutely incredible. But next up, Sheamus. Honestly, him back on SmackDown does not surprise me. Now he can no longer challenge for the United States title. But I do want to point out, as WWE had mentioned, these draft picks will not go into effect until after Crown Jewel. Once Crown Jewel is over, then it'll be in full effect, and these will be the rosters for Raw and SmackDown. But Sheamus to SmackDown, he can now go after Roman Reigns and the Universal title if he wanted. He can go after King Nakamura and the Intercontinental title if he wanted as well. Or if he found himself a tag team partner, he can go after the SmackDown tag team titles, which it could be Cesaro, but knowing Cesaro, I highly doubt it, but only time will tell. Next up, we have Shayna Baszler. This is one that I'm very curious about. Honestly, this is one that I was not expecting. I was not expecting SmackDown to pick Shayna Baszler, but I was expecting them to pick someone like Xia Li. Xia Li has been another one of the NXT stars to get called up to the main roster. All I have to say is Xia Li is tough. She is as tough as they come. Having been a part of Tiansha for a while now, could really help her game on SmackDown. Next up, we got the former Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders. Usos better beware because the Viking Raiders are tough. They are tough son of a bitches. Literally. They'll do whatever it takes to get those titles. But next up, we got Ricochet. The last time Ricochet was on SmackDown, he had just gotten called up to the main roster as part of this, like, sort of, I want to say, modern version of an initiative. I don't know what the hell, but Ricochet on SmackDown, absolutely incredible. If you guys know, this past year, it has been utter hell for Ricochet, having to deal with the Hurt Business. Having to deal with sorry guys, I was looking at my Fire Stick. Having to deal with the Hurt Business, having to deal with Apollo Crews turning heel and turning his back on his friends. Cedric Alexander doing the exact same thing. He went through a lot. So for him to be on SmackDown, I am actually excited I'm actually excited for him. Next up, we have the very strange team of Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. All I have to say is SmackDown's about to get more handsome. That's all I have to say. Cesaro, not a surprise. I'm not surprised that SmackDown would choose Cesaro. So the big question is, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Comment below. If you guys have an idea of what he's gonna do, drop a comment. Next up, Ridge Holland. This is a good pick. As crazy it is for me to say, but this is a good pick for SmackDown because because when he got signed to NXT UK, he was only there for like 9 months. 9 months. He was only a part of NXT UK for 9 months. Then got called up to NXT and was there throughout most of the pandemic. And now he's already in the main roster. This just proves that Ridge Holland has shown a lot of prowess to WWE that I'm ready for the main roster. I'm curious. We'll find out. Once this goes into effect, we will see we will see Ridge Holland go up against some of the best talent possible. You know, potentially Corbin, you know, Jeff Hardy, Drew Gulak, you know, Roman Reigns, you know, who else? Sheamus. You know, there are so many heavy hitters that Ridge Holland could face. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. Sami Zayn, I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised, honestly, but it is what it is. Shotzi Blackheart, and you guys are wondering, where's Tegan Nox? Well, that's the thing. Tegan Nox got drafted to Raw. In fact, she became one of the last 3 to get drafted. Yeah. So I'm kind of pissed. This is another one that's bullshit. Splitting up tag teams that have known each other for so long. Why? Why? I have no fucking clue. Speaking of Natalya, you're wondering where's Tamina? I'll let you guys take a guess. Then we have Jinder Mahal and Shanky, and you guys are wondering about Veer. You guys guessed it. He's on Raw. So that's the roster for SmackDown. Obviously, there will be more superstars getting there. Apparently, there's supposed to be more superstars going to SmackDown. I think from NXT, from what I've been told. But yeah, I can't say that I'm surprised. I mean, I get it. It's the draft, but why would you want to give up? Like, as far as SmackDown goes, why the hell would you want to give up some of the best tag teams that we've had thus far? You know, such as Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya and Tamina. Why? I don't fucking get it. I honestly don't. But moving on, we do have the roster for Monday Night Raw. There's a pretty good amount, so I'm gonna really quickly just go through them and give my thoughts on each of them. So first up, we got the WWE Champion, Big E. Again, as I had mentioned with Woods and Kofi going over to SmackDown, Big E going to Raw. I feel like as if New Day, all 3 members of New Day should have stayed together. That way, SmackDown could have gotten some, a tag team like, guys like I'll say Edge and Karrion Kross. I'll say, that would be incredible. Having Kross on SmackDown would have been incredible, but it is what it is. Next up, we got Bianca Belair, the former SmackDown Women's Champion. Obviously, with her back on Raw, she can now go after the Raw Women's title. But you guys know, when it comes to Crown Jewel, there's one constant that remains. After Crown Jewel, if Bianca Belair were to regain the SmackDown Women's title, she's instantly going back to SmackDown. Easily going back to SmackDown. And if the Street Profits were to challenge for the SmackDown Tag Team titles and they win back the SmackDown Tag Team titles, instantly they're going back to SmackDown. So I'm not too worried, but at the same time, it's probably not going to happen, honestly. But Bianca Belair on Raw, it is what it is. I'm not gonna complain. Next up, we have RK Bro. No surprise here that they would stay on Raw, given the fact that they're the Raw Tag Team Champions. It's no surprise there. Edge to Raw. Why? SmackDown was always Edge's home for so many years. Why put him on a brand that he did not like as much, as crazy as it sounds? But this is Edge we're talking about, and he'll definitely make the best out of that opportunity to be on Raw. Next up, we have the Women's Tag Team Champions, Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. It really doesn't, with them, it doesn't matter, because the titles can go to anywhere in WWE. Literally anywhere in WWE. It is what it is. Keith Bearcat Lee. No surprise here. Can't say I'm honestly not surprised, but him staying on Raw would be perfect, because he can go up, because he can even, we could see him, Keith Lee, go up against someone like Otis. Dominic Dijakovic, we could see that matchup again. We haven't seen that matchup in a while. I think, what was it? TakeOver Portland it was? Maybe. Bobby Lashley would be another good one. Karrion Kross. There's just so many of them. So many of them. Rey Mysterio and his son Dom. It would only be right for those two to be back on Raw, given the fact that Dominic Mysterio started his WWE career last year on Raw. So it does make sense. It does make sense. Austin Theory. Let's just be real here. Let's just be real. Austin Theory to Raw, worst decision ever. I'm saying now, that was the biggest, to quote hashtag the party, shout out, no copyrights here of course, the biggest bonehead play ever. The last time Austin Theory was on Raw, he aligned himself with Angel Garza, with Andrade, who is now out doing his own thing, and Zelina Vega. And that completely backfired on him, because he ended up going back to NXT and aligned himself with Johnny Gargano, his wife Candice LeRae, and of course Indy Hartwell, forming the faction known as The Way. Is this wise? No. He's just too immature. As crazy as it sounds, he is too immature to be on the main roster, especially this early. You know, if he were to be, if he was in NXT for another year or two, then you know what, maybe, Austin Theory to Raw is going to go south so quickly. The 24/7 champion, Reggie, is up next. I can't say I'm surprised. But again, just like the women's tag team titles, the 24/7 title can also go to anywhere in WWE, which is not surprising. Next up, we have Akira Tozawa. He's another one of the guys chasing after the 24/7 title. We'll see. We shall see. But next up, we have Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. Crews back on Raw. It would give him a chance to right the wrongs of the past and go after the United States title, regain the title. Because let's be honest, he got screwed out of the title because of the Hurt Business, so that could be interesting. Next up, we have the Alpha Academy on Raw. I'm very curious because the last time Otis was on Raw, it was actually when he was a part of the tag team known as Heavy Machinery. If you guys remember that tag team, then you know. But that could be interesting. It could be interesting to see them, to see how they'll flourish against tag teams like RK Bro, Rey Mysterio and his son Dom, Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews, even potentially, you know, the Street Profits and even the Hurt Business, which could be interesting. Next up, we have Doudrop. I don't know what the hell Eva Marie was thinking, but her name is Piper Niven. Plain simple. But Doudrop to Raw. As much of a fan as I am of Piper, I think it's too soon. Because the only reason why she got called up way up to the main roster is because of Eva Marie. It's because of the fact that Eva Marie cannot wrestle. The fans, it's been well documented when she first bursted on the scene in WWE as part of Total Divas, the first season of Total Divas, and she only got the last time she was a part of the draft, Eva Marie, she tried to have debut matches against Becky Lynch, but she just kept making excuse after excuse after excuse, and now it's the exact same thing. But of course, Shayna Baszler stopped all that by tearing the shoulder out of the socket of Eva Marie. But Doudrop to Raw, can't say I'm surprised. Drake Maverick to Raw, he's back. He's back on Raw, back on the main roster. We'll see what he can do. But next up we have John Morrison. I can't say that I'm surprised, but we will see what Johnny Drip Drip has in store for Monday Night Raw for the upcoming year. T-Bar, or I guess Dominik Dijakovic, apparently T-Bar had teased the main roster debut, if you will, of Dominic of his original deal. Dominik Dijakovic. I'm excited. If we get Dijakovic back, yes, 1,000 times yes. I'm all for it. Let's go. Next up, we have Nia Jax. She's been out. She's currently out with an injury. So, the hell? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Something got caught on my tongue. We'll see. Not much to say about Nia Jax being on Raw. Next up, we have R-Truth. Can't say I'm surprised. It is what it is. But only time will tell as far as like what we can see from R-Truth. Oh, you know what? Who the fuck am I kidding? He's just gonna chase after the Reggie and the 24/7 title. He ain't worried about the WWE title. He don't want that. He want the 24/7 title. That's all he cares about. Keeping it real. Zelina Vega to Raw. I think that was what she's been wanting this whole time, but we will see. But that was actually from night one as far as Raw goes. But now for night two, as far as the draft for Raw, we have Becky Lynch, the SmackDown Women's Champion again. The only titles that ever changed hands were the Raw and SmackDown Women's titles going to opposite brands. It is what it is. Bobby Lashley to Raw. Can't say I'm surprised. It's Bobby Lashley. Rollins to Raw. Oh my god. Not much to say. But next up, we have the United States Champion Damian Priest. No surprise there. He's been on an impressive roll as of late. Having debuted in the Royal Rumble match back in January, teaming up with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, now is the United States Champion. I'm excited for him to potentially face Big E for the WWE title, where we could have winner take all. It could happen. Next up, AJ Styles and Omos. I'm just gonna be real. No surprise there. Kevin Owens, the Street Profits, Finn Balor. Just continuing on. Kevin Owens to Raw. But it is possible to get a heel turn from Kevin Owens, but I really don't still see it happening anytime soon. Street Profits to Raw. It makes sense given the fact that Bianca Belair is on Raw. It makes sense. Finn Balor to SmackDown, or rather to Raw, is fucking bullshit. Because Finn Balor would rather have the Universal title rather than the WWE title. And I don't know. Finn Balor, I feel like, is meant for SmackDown rather than Raw, in my honest opinion. I said it. It is what it is. But next up, we have Karrion Kross, another non-surpriser. Yeah. Sorry guys, guys. Something got caught in my throat. Hang on, guys. There we go. Another one that another draft pick that didn't surprise me. Because it's Karrion Kross, and he's only been on the main roster for what, about a month now, a couple months. So it is what it is. But next up we have Alexa Bliss. We haven't seen her since Extreme Rules, when she returns, the question is: are we gonna get the Goddess back, or are we gonna get this Alexa Bliss back, the one that we've seen since she aligned herself with Bray Wyatt last year during the pandemic? Only time will tell. But next up we have Carmella. This actually makes sense given the fact that Corey Graves is on Raw, but there's been rumors going around saying that they're going to completely switch out the commentary team. So for SmackDown, apparently it's supposed to have Michael Cole, Byron Saxton, and Corey Graves, as it was on Raw back in 2016. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. And then for Raw, apparently it's supposed to be Pat McAfee and Jimmy Smith, which is possible, but I'm not holding my breath. Next up, we have a guy who I actually was trying to figure out whose name it was a while back. If you guys remember that video, you know. But Gable Steveson is the one that I was talking about. The 2020 Olympic gold medalist. Actually, just the second Olympic gold medalist in history, which is insane. I'm excited for him. Right, honestly, I'm excited for him because with him on Raw, he can go up against so many incredible talent, such as Big E, such as Randy Orton, Edge, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, AJ Styles. There is so much that Stevenson can do in WWE. You know what? Honestly, shouts to him. Shouts to him, dude. If you're watching this, man, shouts to you. Congrats on getting called up to the main roster. You earned it, dude. You earned it. Next up, we have Dana Brooke. She's just being all she's good for is just being on main event. I really don't see her being amount to anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see her as champion, but there's nothing. All I have to say is she might as well just leave. She might as well just leave WWE because I don't think she's going to reach that potential. Now, had she stayed with Charlotte Flair, maybe, but we'll see. Next up, we have Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. This is another one that didn't surprise me. We knew that they were gonna jump ship from SmackDown to Raw. It was only a matter of time, to be honest. But Jackson Riker is next. He's the only member of the Forgotten Sons that stayed in WWE, which is kind of funny. Which I find funny because ooh, excuse me. Because if you guys know, Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake had a lot of run-ins with WWE management. Jackson Riker was the only one I think that never had any. I don't know, but Jackson Riker is staying on Raw. Can't say I'm surprised. But next up we got Veer, part of the Jinder Mahal group, if you will. All I have to say is, with him going at it alone, it's possible that we could get his tag team partner back, and we could get the return of Indus Sher, which is possible. I think his name was Rinku, and the other guy's name was Sarav. Sarav was the guy's name, so we might get him back, but only time will tell. Next up, Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan back on Raw. I'm excited because the last time she was on Raw, she had teamed up with her longtime best friend, turned bitter rival, now back to best friend, Ruby Riott, the Riott Squad. But with Ruby now doing her own thing, Liv Morgan is back at it on her own, and I could definitely see a bright future ahead of Liv Morgan. But speaking of futures, Mia Yim, yes, no longer reckoning. We are getting Mia Yim. Yes, 1,000 times yes. We need this. For Mia Yim to be on Raw is incredible. She can do so much on Monday Night Raw. Even potentially teaming up with her now fiance Keith Lee. It is possible, but we'll see. Tamina to Raw. Another one that's bullshit. Like, what the hell was WWE or rather was Raw and SmackDown thinking splitting up Tamina and Natalya? They were tag team champions, and they had dominated. Like, why split them up now? As is Tegan Nox. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want Tegan Nox. I wanted to see honestly, it didn't matter which brand Tegan Nox was on, but I want to see her, flourish as a singles competitor and win championships. Because you guys know, her WWE when she started her WWE career, it didn't go so well, because back in 2017, back in 2017, she was supposed to have been in the first ever Mae Young Classic, but that didn't come to pass, as she had to deal with her surgery on her ACL in her knee. And when she was a part, and then she ended up becoming a part of the second Mae Young Classic in 2018, and her match with Rhea Ripley was just fast and furious, and she blew out her other knee, forcing her to have surgery again. And then she ended up going over to NXT UK. Then she got called up to NXT. Now she's on the main roster. Never won a single championship. So I would love to see her go after the Raw Women's title, whoever becomes champion after Crown Jewel. But next up we have the Hurt Business. I'm not surprised. Benjamin and Alexander. I don't know why they got back together. Maybe it was out of respect. I have no clue. And last but not least, The Miz. Yeah, The Miz became the last draft pick, the final overall draft pick, which is funny. So the question remains: what are my thoughts on the draft? Utter bullshit. That's all I have to say. Splitting up the New Day, putting Finn Balor to Raw, splitting up Natalya and Tamina, putting Austin Theory to Raw, splitting up Mason T-Bar, Edge to Raw, I mentioned. Splitting up Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. What the hell? I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything else it wasn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everything else was as what we had expected. But those in particular, why? Why would you do something as stupid as that? It's just that simple. It's not right to do that. I feel like, but at the same time, I feel like give it a few months, we'll see them back together. They'll back on Raw, back on SmackDown, wherever they want to go. It is what it is. But those are the results of the draft, which brings me to the question of the day. What are your guys' thoughts on the draft? Who do you guys think should have been drafted to where? Honestly, as I had mentioned, I feel like as if Austin Theory should have went to SmackDown. It's crazy. I know that I talked about him not being on the main roster too early, but him on SmackDown could have really helped him out, because he could have learned under a guy like Sami Zayn, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Again, the question of the day: what are your guys' thoughts on the draft? Who do you think should have been drafted? Which superstars from NXT would you have wanted to see get called up? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, and you guys want to see more videos and you guys want to see more WWE and Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.